Usually I take it away, evaluate it, think about it.
I've marked your assignments. And as you can see, some of you have done quite well.
Dance class is boring. What's that then?
It definitely depends on sort of who's criticising you. I think if it's my sisters, I respond particularly irrationally. I think that's a natural instinct. I think probably the same with my friends.
Usually I take it away, evaluate it, think about it and just see how I can sort of improve on the criticism.
If I think it's constructive criticism, then I try to understand what's motivating it and see what I can learn from it.
We can respond in loads of different ways. It's best to try and be upbeat about everything.
It varies very much depending on my mood. Sometimes I can be very oversensitive and take it all very seriously and even imagine criticism when there isn't any.
It's like getting a cocktail stick and piercing an intimate part of your body. So the first reaction is ouch.
When people hear criticism, what do they really hear?
I think it's a lot to do with my regard of the person who is dealing out the criticism. If I trust and respect them, I'm more inclined to take their criticism on board constructively. If I don't trust or have a regard of them, I won't necessarily believe that they're right.
I do tend to feel people are giving it for my benefit.
I tend to ask the person a few questions to understand whether it's constructive or whether it's an attack, I guess.
Criticism to me is just really another form of learning, another form of getting feedback on things that I'm doing in my life.
Okay, please settle down, please. Guys, come and just settle down.
So good.
I've just had a report on the team's cases. And when it's come to the SLAs, it's not looking good. You're just not meeting the targets for the PCs on desk.
What SLAs? We've never had any SLAs.
You've had SLAs since the outsourcing in December. There's a next day SLA for brandishing new PCs on desk.
That's ridiculous. Do you know how many new PCs are arriving every day? We're getting at least 10 to 20 PCs.
We are getting a lot of PCs.
We prioritise our own work, urgent cases first. And new PCs going on users' desk is not urgent.
In a work environment, you definitely try and take it on board in a constructive manner, but it can be particularly disheartening, I suppose, when it's just literally criticism and there's no sort of constructive element to it, and then you get a bit down and depressed, I suppose.
I'm immediately defensive, to be honest, so I can be.
Students often, even though it's in a clear environment, it's clearly for the benefit of the student, because after all that's the relationship, tutor and student. They have to trust us that we're here to help them. Even then, there can be resistance. And the resistance, I would like to think, is not because they don't have regard for me and they don't trust me. The resistance is because some people just can't take criticism.
I'm back. You know it. Oh, yep, just finished 4 calls and now I have to rebuild this laptop. The user thought it would be a good idea to get an ex-IT member of staff who's now working in the business to upload his operating system. And now the whole thing's gone wrong and the laptop doesn't work. They call us. He's not backed up any of the data to the network. It's all on his hard drive. I now need to find a hard drive big enough to go to the image of the laptop first.
I should have a hard drive big enough for you.
Oh, great.
You guys are all doing a good job.
Well, yesterday you said we were all rubbish.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
When a person is dealing with criticism badly, they're not recognizing that they're doing this. It's an automatic reaction. It's a learned behavior. That can actually completely polarize the reality of whatever has been said, because sometimes it can be very small in terms of feeling criticism. And I use that word deliberately, feeling, because it's an emotional thing that comes up.
If I'm in a positive mood, I will take criticism and see how much I believe it. If I'm in a negative mood, I feel like I'm being attacked.
When I've traced back into someone's past, the past has a lot to do with how a person handles and how they deal with criticism and what it becomes to them. And for some people, it can be the smallest thing, and it triggers a memory, a point of something that happened in their past, and it's usually a negative.
My mother, rather than my father, used to blame me for quite a lot of things. And then because I was blamed for quite a lot of things, then I would do more things wrong. So like, why have you spilt that drink, you know? Panic.
Someone was punitive to us, and then we therefore become punitive to ourselves. Often it works well if you can work with someone who has the ability to help you go back gently and to help you recognize. And for this reason, I do recommend that people see a counsellor or a therapist.
I think the way that you deliver, criticism is very important. Any criticism, that you deliver, you're actually touching on someone's a part of them, really. That's what you're criticising, and I think that's what's so hard to deal with when it comes to criticism.
Taking on board that generally people don't like to be criticised, which I think is quite natural and human. The best approach is to be soft, perhaps, in your approach.
It should actually be with the intention to actually build someone up to help them to achieve something more than what they are at the moment.
I think my approach is supportive and constructive, but can be quite robust, not insulting the intelligence or the feelings of the person, not patronising, and not so overly tactful that the message is lost.
It's always good to take a step back and not to react straight away when someone criticises you, but rather to maybe walk away so that you don't respond out of whatever you're feeling at that moment. Look at, criticism in general as just being an object or a tool that's actually going to help us to become better at what we do, to improve in relationships or behaviours or things like that. Look at what the person said to you and actually identify if there's any truth in it. Okay, there's merit in what they're saying, and maybe I'm only doing part of it wrong and I just need to correct that.
So you always have to kind of take your emotion out of the situation, and that really depends how you feel on a given day.
Not to take it so personally, just to be a little bit more measured and think people are making those comments for their reasons, and it might be as much about them as it is about me.
I think there's certain things that I'm a bit too cocky, a bit too stubborn about.
Because in this game, being a cab driver, the less conflicts you have is the better, because you can have conflicts every minute of the day when you're on the roads, people question and stuff like that. It's best to have a smile, a bit of good nature, and everyone gets along fine,
I write reviews and things, then you've got to be able to take it.
I think it's just being more rational. I think to take a moment, to take it in, try and sort of decipher what someone's actually saying and try and take the constructive criticism out of the point, and take away the negative side of it, basically, and try and improve yourself from the criticisms. Or if the criticisms are necessary, then, tell them.
Yeah, I know, but make like one of those chips where it never actually goes in. What's wrong with you? Sounds full of
Someone has done.
Oh, yeah.